rubber model room welcomes all. Thanks for stopping by, answering the call. Ups and downs are normal for some of us. Many days I beg to get off this life bus. Neon lights flicker, my shadow on the wall. Dreams on the ceiling, we run and then we fall. Sharing stories over paper cups. Wheels keep turning but never enough. Life's a ride on a rickety old track, holding on tight, never looking back. In the rubber and motor room we confide, laugh, cry, love in this crazy ride. Dusty postcards from the edge of nowhere, heartbeats echo in the electric air. We dance on tables without to wait, cry in the rubber and motor room, we're all high.
Well, good morning. Good morning. Welcome into the Rubber Ramada Room. Sheila here. Guess what I found? I found something that I have no clue what's going on. So we're going to sit here and we're going to watch. And anybody that has any ideas to tell me what in the absolute world is going on with Kohberger? Why did this pop up on my phone? What is happening? We have something going on. Popped up State versus Kohberger. I'll scroll it down a little bit right there. I haven't seen anything. Don't know what's going on. Exactly. Wow. What is this? Indie girl. Hey, love. Hey, how are you? AFK, but here. All right. All right. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. We all know Kohberger has, oh, hang on just one second. I'm here. Just give me just a second, though. Hang on. Okay, so obviously court's fixing to begin soon. I don't know if they just did this thing on its own. So y'all know we're just going to be nosy with my Mrs. Kravitz little thing over here, and we're going to watch. We know Kohberger pleaded guilty to 4 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of felony burglary in the fatal stabbings of the University of Idaho students Madison Mogan, Kaylee Goncalves, Zana Kernerdle, and Ethan Chapin in November of 2022. In July 2025, he took that plea deal because to get that death penalty off the table. So he did that. He was sentenced on July 23rd to the life sentences plus an additional 10 for the burglary charges. So we'll see, I have no idea. And of course, they've never come out with a motive for the killings. Nothing's been publicly revealed. I know there's been a lot of, I've seen a lot of streams where the victim's family member has gone online to some different YouTube creators and has different streams and has been very open about their emotions and feelings. And it's been a little heated here and there. His case is now closed, but there was a recent court hearing in November 2025. It says regarding arguments over additional restitution payments to the victims' families. His defense argued he should not have to pay the full amount because the families received funds from GoFundMe donations. So I'm not sure if maybe there's something to do with that restitution hearing coming up. There's nothing has been said. We don't know. Hannah, honey, my little Hannah honey pot. What you doing, girlfriend? I wish I knew what was going on. It popped up and I said, what is this? I texted Hio and I said, Hio, what am I missing? What do I not know? Why is Kohberger in court? I don't have an answer, but court will begin soon according to them and we'll get an answer in about 10 minutes. So, yeah, this is just, I'm not even sure. Well, let's just see here what we got. Okay, hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up. No, how the hell Ava done come to the rescue? Ava done popped. Wait,
Is this movie coming out?
I'm
This
gonna let it play and
Lifetime
I'll replay
movie.
it. Hold up, get off my
Breaking
screen, Dana.
news.
I'm not talking.
Hey guys, so I knew that there was this movie coming out, this Lifetime movie about the Idaho murders, but now the families are upset of the victims, and rightly so, because there are these videos that have popped up on social media of the actors in the movie filming the movie about the murders, like actors playing the victims, the actor playing Brian Kohberger, doing these dances, like it appears in between scenes, like I'm not going to show the videos, but like dancing to Britney Spears songs and stuff, and just very insensitive considering what they are.
Is there a possibility this could be what this is about?
Shooting their movie about. And the Brian Kohberger actor is like in the Brian Kohberger costume, same with the Kaylee Gonzalez actress. From what I can tell, I reached out to Lifetime, they haven't responded, but I did talk to Gabby Petito's mom because they also did a Lifetime movie about Gabby Petito, and she wasn't happy about that, and she's also very unhappy about this current situation.
Y'all, this is crazy. This is crazy. Okay, I'm gonna let it keep playing. We're gonna, because I still have court over here and it hasn't started, so we're gonna keep watching this for a second. I'm not exactly sure how long it is. Ava, if you're out there, thank you, love, Ava, for dropping this in my Discord. 100, love you, girl.
My blood is boiling a little bit. Sorry. So Lifetime has really, really gone too far this time. I thought it was too far with Gabby, but it's getting worse. And these so-called, I quote, actors, the immaturity and the disgusting behavior when they're supposed to be portraying these young, beautiful lives that were taken by a disgusting murderer. It's gross to see them dancing and having a good time and having fun. I'm not saying they can't have a good time and have fun, but you're on TikTok in public and you're making a mockery out of something that these families went through, and it's hurtful and it's painful. The fact that Lifetime's already making it is gross, but now you have the actors completely making it's I have no words, honestly. It's really hard to talk about.
Hey guys, so
Okay, yes, and here I will drop the link, Denise, if anybody wants to come up. Y'all know I try to keep this as open panel as I can. We'll go back over here. Yes, and if it comes up and it says it's not to be recorded, we will shut down. And yes, hello, my lovies. Hey, Forrest, how are you this morning? I'm not so sure. I don't know. This popped up on my phone and I said, what in the actual world is going on here? I texted Hio immediately. I was in another chat and I texted Hio. I'm like, wait, what is this? What is happening? So I don't know. Like I said, if it's a do not record, we will pull down immediately. But we will wait and see. You can't come up. You're both. Shh. You have headphones in. I won't out you with your boss if you have headphones in. Yeah, I don't know. It should be in the next like 3 minutes. I'm gonna mute and I'm gonna go grab me a cup of coffee. So just I'm not gonna put anything on the screen, but I'm gonna go grab me a cup of coffee real quick because I was still in bed. Okay, I'm back. Got my coffee. Got mom coffee. Okay, so let's just see. Oh, hey, Kels. Yeah, I see you and Jay's all the time. Usually I'm on screen, but I don't get out of bed this early in the morning. My husband works nights, so I don't get out of bed. And yeah, so we'll see what's gonna happen. Denise, sorry, I walked away to get that coffee. It's a restitution hearing, and it can be recorded. If Judge Hippler didn't want it streamed, he would have come up on the court. It would have had it up on the court side. That's a promise. Yeah, I figured you would know. You were going to be my next phone call or text message. I was coming at you next if I couldn't get any answers from EO, but she was on that. She was like, no, let's go see. Let's go see. And it was just really weird how it just popped up out the blue. And y'all know me. I need to know. I have that need to know problem. Oh, this coffee is so good. I don't usually even start drinking my coffee until about 2:30 in the afternoon when I go live at 3. And I don't start drinking my coffee until 2 in the afternoon. Oh, here we go. There we go. Okay, let's turn it up. I'm gonna be quiet. I'm gonna mute. Santa Claus has entered.
All right, let's go on the record in State v. Kohberger, CR 0124316665. The defendant has been excused from today's proceedings. It is not present. The defense is represented by Ms. Massoff, Ms. Taylor, and Ms. Barlow. State is represented by Mr. Thompson. This is a time set for a hearing on the state's supplemental request for restitution. The state can argue first.
Thank you, Your Honor. The attached documentation, it doesn't appear that there's a question about the amounts. I think the question that has been raised is whether the propriety of any additional restitution being ordered at this point. Yesterday afternoon, we did receive a supplemental filing from the defense, and I want to respond to that just for the record before I address the merits of the restitution requests themselves. As we indicated in our response to the defense objection to the additional restitution request, at the time that we entered into the plea agreement, Ms. Jennings and I were under the impression that crime victims' compensation could be available to cover reimbursement of travel expenses. And I have to clarify that now. It is true that before trial, the families approached our office asking if there were any resources we were available to pay in advance for travel expenses or expenses related to them attending trial itself. And we looked into that, our staff looked into that, and advised them no. It was my understanding, and I'm mistaken, I realized I was mistaken at this point, but it was my understanding back in early July, late June, when we were talking about the plea agreement, that crime victims compensation could be available to reimburse expenses like that. I now know that's not correct, and it was certainly my mistake. I will own it as far as our state of mind going into the plea agreement. So that being said,
go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. I'll let you finish the point on the plea agreement, and then I have a question for you about that.
And I was just finishing that point, Your Honor, so this would be a good time.
Okay. So it's pretty well settled that plea agreements are interpreted as contracts, which they are. I think it's pretty well settled contract law that a unilateral mistake does not relieve one of its contractual obligations and restrictions. So how can I how can I order this restitution if the express terms of the plea agreement, though mistaken understanding by the state, don't allow such extra crime victims compensation fund reimbursement?
Right. And Your Honor, I recognize that, and that's what I was just getting ready to address. In response to the defense's objection, the state has modified or adjusted our position on the restitution. We are, pursuant to the plea agreement, seeking restitution for the funeral-related expenses, which are the urns that are described in Exhibit 2 to our response. We are not affirmatively advocating for the travel expenses and lodging expenses of the family because we do not believe that we can legally advocate for those. At the same time, the families provided those to us, and we want to provide them to the court and counsel just so everybody was aware that they are there, but we are not arguing affirmatively for that because of the wording of the plea agreement itself. So what the state is actually requesting today is just additional restitution for the funeral-related expenses, which are the urns for the families.
Okay, thank you. And you can address the other issues as well.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, which other issues?
Well, the issues, if you would like, raised in opposition to your motion, including the lack of ability to pay by a defendant and et cetera.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. I apologize. The defendant has raised the issue of his alleged inability to pay, and we recognize that he's going to be incarcerated until he dies. But that in and of itself doesn't mean that over the course of the balance of his life, he might become, he might receive assets. And in fact, we attached a breakdown of the types of monies that he has received during his incarceration. We also noted the statute that allows the treasurer to intercept prospective monies that might be received based on any attempted publication of the story of the defendant. And those, if received, would be something that a restitution order could be enforced against. We also note that the language of the statute and the case law interpreting the restitution statute, which is 1953-04, if I believe off the top of my head, talks about current inability to pay is not necessarily a block to the order of restitution. It's just merely a factor for the court to consider. And it is our position, given the relative youth of the defendant, the fact that he has been receiving significant monies during his incarceration already, and that there is a possibility of future monies, whether by virtue of the statute with the treasurer impounding proceeds from a story related to this, or perhaps from an inheritance from his family or others. We can't see into the future. We don't have a perfect crystal ball. The state's position is having this additional restitution in place, which is really fairly minimal, would be appropriate. And have them available that if the defendant comes into assets, that the families would be able to try to satisfy the restitution orders from them.
Thank you. And then who's arguing for defense?
I will be, Your Honor.
All right.
Thank you. Given that the state has clarified its position that it's only seeking reimbursement for the urns, it's my understanding that that amount is $1,420 for one family, $1,587.79, and then another $167.79, which would be a total, I believe, if my math is right, of $3,075.58. My understanding of reading the Victims Compensation Code 1953-04 is that the court must still do an analysis on Mr. Kohberger's ability to pay And as the state has addressed, we are arguing that he does not have an ability to pay. While there have been lump sums provided to you regarding some funds that he received prior to his plea agreement, what the court does not have is a breakdown of how those funds came into the inmate system for his expenses and the fact that they were primarily family. Certainly his situation pre-plea and sentencing was drastically different than it is right now in terms of money that is available to him. And there's nothing in the record to provide the court with anything other than what is really speculation based on the past, as opposed to something that the court might be able to rely upon about foreseeability. There's no way that Mr. Kohberger is ever going to profit from any sort of movie or book because Idaho Code 1953-01 specifically precludes that.
Well, it
and
precludes, it allows that monies are swept from his account for those income to pay certain things. If those certain things, if there's no debt for those certain things, then does the money not go then to the defendant?
that is not my reading of the code. Perhaps I'm reading that statute more broadly than the court is. I understood it to be that the purpose is that someone can't then profit off of their crime pursuant to that statute. I guess I need to read it with that broad implication.
Even allowing your reading of it, what's to prevent, for example, a family member from agreeing to, provide information, be a part of, et cetera, a story, movie, book, whatever, TV series about the murders, about Mr. Kohberger, and that certainly wouldn't be, monies they receive wouldn't be subject to the statute, and then they certainly would be free to send Mr. Kohberger money to his account. What harm is it to order the restitution, which would then sort of jump in line in terms of priority of payments over some of the other ordered payments, such that if Mr. Kohberger does receive money into his accounts from any source, that he's then, that those monies are then put to that use. Certainly, we're not worried about Mr. Kohberger's credit rating with having debts at this point. I'm not sure what the concern would be to, given the uniqueness of this case and the potential for family members, et cetera, to earn money from it, and potentially we've seen members of the public send money to Mr. Kohberger, is my understanding, to his books. What's the downside to ensuring that the victims are as whole as possible from this by ordering the restitution, which again would jump in line from some of the other court-ordered fines, et cetera? And if the money's there, it's there. If it's not, it's not.
Judge, I don't see that Idaho Code or Idaho law asks the court to make an analysis on the downside, but whether or not there is foreseeability of payment. And all of the things that you just listed are pure speculation. There is no book or movie that's in the works by any of his family, and to say that those things are going to happen is absolutely speculative, and there's nothing to substantiate those sorts of assertions happening in the future. So
well, there's a history in the 3 years he was incarcerated of him receiving 5 figures put on his books. Doesn't that give the court some history to suggest that such contributions from whatever source may continue into the future?
As I stated earlier, Judge, that was at a different time in the case. That was at a time when, he had not entered a plea. He was not deemed convicted of the crime. The money, a lot of that money was coming from his family to be able to have communications with their son and brother. And to speculate that those types of dollars are going to be able to happen for the next many decades is exactly that. It's pure speculation, not based on something that is foreseeable or based in something that's in fact before this court.
Well, it just seems to me that one of the, really, obviously, even application of statute requires the court to look at what might happen into the future. And I guess, it seems to me one of the best indicators of the future is the past. And in the past, his family has, you're saying the family was the source of much of these funds, has provided him funds in order for him to communicate, et cetera. That necessity will still exist going forward. I'm not aware of his family having disowned him at this point and not wanting any contact with him. And even if they are, that doesn't mean that won't change. And you call it speculation. It seems to me that it is good evidence of what may occur in the future in light of what has occurred in the past.
Well, Judge, there is a judgment against him in the amount of $28,000, and certainly 20% of every dollar that goes into his inmate account is going to go towards paying that $28,000. Another factor that the court actually can look at under 1953-04 subsection 7 is other factors, and those factors that other factors that the court deems appropriate, and that can be collateral resources that the families obtained over $200,000, which definitely reimburse the cost of the earns in terms of economic costs.
I also want to turn to the plea agreement, because isn't a reasonable interpretation of the plea agreement that the defendant will not contest the state's seeking of restitution that is outlined in the plea agreement? Otherwise, why would it need to be in the plea agreement? It seems to me it's the plea agreement, a reasonable interpretation is the defendant is agreeing to pay restitution for those items that are identified in the plea agreement, which includes victims' compensation, which includes in this case funeral expenses. So you took advantage of the plea agreement to get the benefit of the bargain regarding the state's dropping of the death penalty. Why should you not be held to the plea agreement to pay the victims the costs of interning their children?
Judge, I believe that our pleading was clear, that we understood that earns fell underneath a funeral cost, but that once we have a hearing on this matter, that doesn't eliminate the court's duty under 1953-04 to do the ability to pay analysis. And that's why.
Well, are you in violation of the plea agreement by arguing that your client shouldn't have to pay those?
We are not in violation of the plea agreement. If there was any violation of the plea agreement that took place, it's the state seeking this when the other expenses, when it was clear under statute and under the Idaho Victims Compensation rules that those were not reimbursable expenses.
But they've effectively withdrawn those requests and are seeking what's outlined in the plea agreement. What's the point of the plea agreement on restitution if the defense is able to argue against the restitution called for in the plea agreement itself?
Judge, again, in our pleading, we objected to what the state has withdrawn as of this moment at this hearing today.
Right.
We acknowledge that the earns were funeral expenses.
Right.
But once we're in this situation of having a hearing, then this other section about whether or not he has an ability to pay is triggered. We stipulated to $28,000 in restitution within 60 days.
Right.
He met the terms of the plea agreement.
But it also says the state may seek restitution regarding funeral expenses, and they're simply identifying additional funeral expenses.
I don't know what more you want me to say about the urns other
Well,
than
what's
they
the
are.
point of the plea agreement if you're not going to be bound by it?
I agreed that it was $3,075.58.
But you say you just shouldn't have to pay it.
What I said was that the court needs to do the analysis under Idaho code about his ability to pay.
Why
He doesn't
hasn't the defendant waived his right to rely on that ability to pay by agreeing to those expenses as part of the plea agreement?
I don't know how the court can enter this order today without engaging in the analysis under Idaho code because it's required. That's the way I review the case law and the code, that once there's a hearing about restitution, then the court has to engage in the analysis on the ability to pay.
So the agreement to pay is illusory.
No, he agreed to $28,000. We've agreed that the urns fall underneath.
Does he have the ability to pay that?
No, he does not have the ability.
So
to
why
pay
did
that,
you
but
agree to it?
Because it was a specific, we were provided with those receipts within 60 days. We were not provided with the receipt for the urns within 60 days.
So is your objection then a timeliness objection?
We did raise a timeliness objection in our pleading. I have thought about that and whether or not I think that it is a really valid argument to say that that's completely jurisdictional. I didn't to mean that the court can't take this under the review at this point in time. I didn't read the judgment language in such a strict fashion that I felt like we could say 61 days means the court's not going to consider it at all. So it is past your 60-day deadline, but I don't know that that is completely jurisdictional in the way that you drafted your judgment.
Anything else?
No.
Thank you. Mr. Thompson, any rebuttal?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, thank you. I'll take the matter under advisement, issue an opinion in due course.
Well, oh, hey. I don't know, Hio. Why does it let me type the word bitch, but you can't? I don't know, love. Y'all, this is crazy. They're fighting over paying for urns for these unfortunate victims of this man. And they want, y'all, this is, he gets 5 figures put into his account, supposedly by family. Okay. And then they feel like they're being forced to pay these. And they, oh my gosh, this is crazy. It said that I made some notes. Y'all know me and my notes. I'm over here writing like a lunatic. In the restitution, the defense had agreed to pay for the funeral expenses. And then the crazy woman the woman goes on to say, I'm going to be respectful, goes on to say that they had 60 days to get these receipts in. And the judge goes, so do you think it's a timely objection? And she says, well, yeah, I think it's valid. Excuse me? Oh, y'all, I'm not. And the judge even asked her, I wrote it down. He said, what's the point of a plea agreement if you're not going to follow through with it? Which made total sense. What in the actual hell? I mean, they stipulated to $28,000 restitution. They got their receipts in. They did, and they didn't think that this man, y'all. I love this judge too. Uh-oh, Hannah, you got fireworks going off. Girl. I mean, this is just. It's crazy, guys. I hope for all the family out there, the victims' families, that, they do get their restitution. There is no reason that with the money that's in his accounts, and I'm sure money that he will be making doing his little odd jobs, whatever it may be there in prison for the rest of his life, that it's not going to hurt. Because I think they said 20%. Wait, I wrote it down, 20%. Okay, he has a 28K restitution that he is paying, and 20% of what he makes goes to that. So, I mean, keep on keeping on. Keep on making them restitution payments, sir. It is what it is. You did a horrible crime. We all know what you did. It's all out there. It's all over the internet, in case you haven't noticed. So I don't know, guys. I don't know. I don't know. Y'all put y'all's thoughts in the description box below, and let me know what y'all think about all this restitution stuff. I personally think that he's responsible for all of it, and if the family wants to take money out of whatever it is, their Lifetime movie coming up or anything. Oh, here, let me play that right quick one more time. Here, we're going to play this one more time. Okay, let me make sure it didn't. Let's see. I'll play this one more time just for it to everybody that came in late.
I knew that there was this movie coming out, this Lifetime movie about the Idaho murders, but now the families are upset, the victims, and rightly so, because there are these videos that have popped up on social media of the actors in the movie, filming the movie about the murders, like actors playing the victims, the actor playing Brian Kohberger, doing these dances, like it appears in between scenes. Like, I'm not going to show the videos, but like dancing to Britney Spears songs and stuff, and just very insensitive considering what
and I can understand as a family member, I'm sure that is so triggering to these victims' families to have to see this and go through this. But it's like, I don't remember who I was listening to the other day, but I think it was Jay for Justice, and she made a comment about there was something going on in the chat, and they were talking about back before we had all the social media, it wasn't out there. We didn't have the all the little clips and the videos. So like stuff we have to see about, I don't know, Ted Bundy or Gacy or there wasn't social media to have all this stuff out there. Things have changed. And so now we're seeing so much more, on some of these, excuse me, these documentaries that are out there now, they put a lot more out there, things that we weren't privy to back then.
What they are shooting their movie about. And the Brian Kohberger actor is like in the Brian Kohberger costume, same with the Kaylee Gonzalez actress, from what I can tell. I reached out to Lifetime, they haven't responded, but I did talk to Gabby Petito's mom because, they also did a Lifetime movie about Gabby Petito, and she wasn't happy about that, and she's also very unhappy about this current situation.
My blood is boiling a little bit. Sorry. So Lifetime is really, really gone too far this.
It is, Nelson. It's very insensitive. But unfortunately, there are people out there that are interested and they want to know the truth but sometimes the way these movies, in my opinion, sometimes the way these movies are made and portrayed is very wrong. I don't like Lifetime movie type things. More of a documentary thing is for me, because I want straight facts. I don't know. Documentaries are different than movies to me. I have a hard time watching these type of movies.
Time. I thought it was too far with Gabby, but it's getting worse. And these so-called, I quote, actors, the immaturity and the disgusting behavior when they're supposed to be portraying these young, beautiful lives that were taken by a disgusting murderer. It's gross to see them dancing and having a good time and having fun. I'm not saying they can't have a good time and have fun, but you're on TikTok in public and you're making a mockery out of something that these families went through, and it's hurtful and it's painful. The fact that Lifetime's already making it is gross, but now you have the actors completely making I have no words, honestly. It's really hard to talk about.
Hey guys,
Okay. So with that, I'm gonna let y'all go. Yeah, I'm totally with you. Movie, they can take the freedom from, right. Yep, yep. Yeah, and I feel like with documentaries, it's more fact-based rather than acting. In some of these the Lifetime movies seem very acted out. Um, and yeah, that can be very upsetting and triggering for it not being so factual. And that's just my opinion. You all have yours. Y'all have a great rest of your day. I'm going to peace out until my 3 o'clock stream central. We will come back with, we are on day 5, and we're reviewing that lovely trial of Florida versus Alicia Andrews. So I will see y'all later. Until then, y'all have a great rest of your day. Peace. Rubber out.
Life's a ride